I'm Ellen Saraceni. My husband Vic was the captain of United Flight 175 that struck the South Tower on September 11th at 9:03 a.m. Darkness prevailed that day for all of us, and that certainly was my darkest day. 19 years later, we all still remember, and we continue to honor all those not with us today. We lost nearly 3,000 souls on September 11th. 18 were Bucks County residents, and 9 were from Lower Makefield Township. Eric Stark worked for the United Way, and he met with all of the Bucks County victims' families to offer some support and assistance, and he will have the honor to read their names.
Michael A. Bain, Lorraine Bay, James P. Berger, Jeffrey Chernoff, Peter Churchirillo, William R. Godshalk, Donald G. Havlish, Jr., Donald W. Jones, William H. Kelly, Jr., Joseph Lostrangio, Louis Nackey, Joshua Reese, John Michael Rodak, Victor J. Saraceni, Larry Senko, Barbara Shaw, William R. Steiner, Sandra Wright.
Terrorists took our loved ones and left a cloud of darkness across our country. But there is hope. They cannot take our spirit, our light, or our hope. Hope was expressed by our Bucks County community in so many ways, as neighbors, friends, and even strangers stepped up to offer support, empathy, and love. Certainly, the best of the American spirit rose to the surface, and the healing was able to begin. The families, with much community support, worked to create a place of reflection and peace to remember our loved ones. We came upon a tattered flag on this township-owned land, which meant we found the right place to build the memorial. Local architect Luba Lashik came up with a spectacular yet peaceful design. The plans were approved and we broke ground in 2003. With a major last-minute assist from then Congressman Mike Fitzpatrick, our fundraising goal was met to complete the memorial by the 5th anniversary of the attacks. Today and always, we remember. Fundraising continued well after the dedication of the garden in 2006, with incredible support from our community. Golf outings, 5K runs, 9/11 Never Forget pins, and local schools, to name a few, all raised funds for the construction and maintenance of the garden. And we're still at it. The 9/11 Memorial Garden of Reflection, Inc., a nonprofit organization, was established in 2011 in order to create the Remembrance Fund Endowment, which will soon provide the funds necessary to maintain the garden in perpetuity. Once again, we thank the Bucks County community for its tremendous support of all these fundraising activities over the last 19 years and future fundraising efforts to come. The memorial has materialized as the beautiful and meaningful memorial in part because of 2 special people who are not with us today. We honor the efforts and support from both Grace Parkinson Godshalk as well as Congressman Mike Fitzpatrick. May they rest in peace. Our country again faces darkness as the coronavirus has taken many, many Americans and has infected our lives, families, and businesses with financial ruin, uncertainty, and yet again, grief. But there is hope. But we choose to remember, and the garden expresses it beautifully, that after darkness, there is light. Yes, there is hope. Just as we will never forget the 9/11 tragedy and the innocent lives taken from us, we must also never forget the lives cut short in present time, whether by a virus, violence in our streets, or other terrorist actions. So today we choose once again to embrace the light and not let the darkness prevail. We move forward with hope and trust in the goodness of our neighbors, our nation, and ultimately our Creator. To our amazement, the satellite view of the garden clearly showed us that the 9/11 shape was a message from above. We believe that our Creator has blessed our efforts, our community, and our local 9/11 families with the creation of the Garden of Reflection. May the garden always stand as an uplifting remembrance and beacon of hope for us all. Thank you, and may God bless you all.
It seems as if it was only yesterday when on a beautiful fall morning, without a cloud in the sky, 18 Bucks County families' lives changed forever. Perhaps the news came by radio while traveling to work, or while watching on the morning television shows and drinking a cup of coffee, or as in my case, by a frantic telephone call. For all 18 families, our lives were shattered. The unimaginable had happened. Sometimes it feels as if it was just yesterday, but it has been 19 years. I know for myself, not a day passes that I don't see a bird, a flower, a snowflake, or hear a melody that does not bring Joshua to my mind. I know how much I miss him. We still remember him. We remember the laughter and the tears and the smiles. Whenever something wonderful happens at every major or even minor event, we remember him. At family weddings, the birth of nieces and grandchildren, we remember that he is not here with us to celebrate life's joys. I know I'm not alone in my memories. There are 17 other Bucks County families with their memories. Now, 19 years later, we are unable to come together as a community to remember not only the 18 Bucks Countians, but the brave first responders, the police, firefighters, and EMTs who were lost that morning, and this is due to another unimaginable, a pandemic. But we can still take a few moments to remember our fathers, mothers, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters who we lost that beautiful September morning. Here at the Garden of Reflection, the official Pennsylvania 9/11 Memorial, we see the names of our loved ones and the names of every person who perished that day. We also take time to remember those whose lives have been lost to disease caused by their unselfish actions at Ground Zero. We come here in peace to reflect not only on our losses, but often in the what might have been. We all faced hours, days, and weeks of despair. For many, we had hope of miracles that never happened. We had sorrow and anger, but each family picked up the pieces of their lives and forged ahead with the knowledge that we would be stronger than the hate. I want to leave you with the words from Sandy Dahl, wife of Flight 93 pilot Jason Dahl. If we learn nothing else from this tragedy, we learn that life is short and there is no time for hate. I hope you have time to come out to the garden, and I wish all of your families well.
Life After Death by Laura Gilpin. These things I know, how the living go on living, and how the dead go on living with them, so that in a forest, even a dead tree casts a shadow, and the leaves fall one by one, and the branches break in the wind, and the bark peels off slowly, and the trunk cracks, and the rain seeps in through the cracks, and the trunk falls to the ground, and the moss covers it. And in the spring, the rabbits find it and build their nest inside the dead tree, so that nothing is ever wasted in nature or in love. Nothing is ever wasted in nature or love. What a crucial reminder, especially now, as we mark nearly 20 years since so many beautiful souls were taken from us. So many beautiful souls whose light we continue to carry with us. What a crucial reminder that every second we encounter each other, every single breath we take, is a blessing and an opportunity. May the souls of all those we remember today continue to inspire us, and may their loved ones find comfort in their memories and love. Amen.
This is just like 9/11. Things haven't been this bad since 9/11. The chaos of the coronavirus drives many to see parallels with the tragedy which unfolded that Tuesday morning 19 years ago. Cities and communities paralyzed, airlines unable to fly, governments struggling, businesses shattered, our nation under siege. And then there are the names and the faces of the dear ones who are lost. Attacks exploit our weaknesses and reveal our vulnerabilities. 9/11 showed us we were not as secure as we believed, and these attacks stoked smoldering prejudices against Arab and Muslim neighbors. COVID-19 and the murder of George Floyd show us the systemic and the stubborn power of racism, the unjust aspects of our justice system, and the abusive treatment of our neighbors who are burdened with severe mental illness. COVID-19, like 9/11, is driving a wedge in the ever-deepening divide of politics in this country. And both tragedies are aligned in this. In the aftermath, we all know the world will never be the same. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. This crisis can be an opportunity for our community and our nation to come together. As Abraham Lincoln said at Gettysburg, the bloody tragedy of the Civil War must bring forth a new birth of freedom. The one thing we cannot let stand in the way is fear. Fear which drives us back into the old ways, fear which divides us, fear which fuels prejudice and racism. After the Israelites escaped Pharaoh's clutches and received the Ten Commandments, Moses led them to the very edge of the Promised Land. Their scouts reported that it is indeed a land flowing with milk and honey, but then they warned there are giants in the land. And they spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land they had explored. They said, "The land we explored devours those living in it. All the people we saw there are of great size. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them." Fear grips the nation. They refuse to move forward. They revolt against Moses. They reverse course and want to head back to Egypt. Then two leaders who see the same situation, Joshua and Caleb, stand up and cast a completely different vision. "Yes, we are grasshoppers," they say, "and like a plague of locusts, we will swarm all over them." They shout, "Do not rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will swallow them up. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them." Same data, different solution. Why? Well, Joshua and Caleb replace fear with faith. None of us knew quite how to move forward after 9/11, and along the way we made some mistakes and some missteps. But in our better moments, we united, came together, pushed past fear, and stepped into the better future God prepared for us. None of us quite knows how to move forward through COVID-19. None of us knows what lies on the other side of it, or how to reopen. Now we can let fear divide us and drive us back into the past, or by faith we can unite, move forward, and slay the giants and change things. How do grasshoppers devour giants? Well, grasshoppers are small, and change comes about with a lot of little things. Don't believe me? What is it that is closing everything, infecting millions, and killing thousands? A very small thing that's invisible to the naked eye, a virus. But small things can also come together to do many great things. That is, when grasshoppers swell. Their numbers multiply and increase, and the more people that come to a movement, the more it swells and can cause great positive change. That is when grasshoppers also swarm. Change occurs when ordinary, insignificant people work together. When a movement of people focuses its energy, it can cause unimaginable change. Small, swell, swarm. Now you might say that the problems of this world are as fearful as a legion of giants. We can't stop racism, injustice, poverty, prejudice, homelessness, addiction, mental illness, or unbelief. You're right if you're only counting on us, but don't count God out. We may only be an army of grasshoppers, but with the power of God, we can swell and swarm and cause great change. Let's start small. Here are a few things each one of us can do. Imagine if each one of us in the United States would wear masks, wash hands, and socially distance 6 feet. We would push back this virus, flatten the curve, and literally save lives. Imagine if each one of us took the time to get to know the names of the neighbors who live in the houses right around us. Listen to them, learn about them, help one another. It may be a small thing, but building good neighborhoods helps promote health and lowers crime. Imagine if each one of us took the time to get to know, really know, somebody who's different than we are. Someone who of a different color, religion, ethnic background, someone who is different lifestyle, someone who is from a different political party. Hear their stories, their joys, and their pain. Imagine if each one of us offered some practical help to our neighbors who have difficult problems like homelessness, hunger, unemployment, people struggling with addiction, people who are mentally ill. What if we took some time to help each one of them? If you don't know where to get started, join us at Woodside. We're helping each one of these neighbors, and so are many of the other houses of worship and faith communities in our community. What difference can a grasshopper make? The civil rights movement had many great monumental figures like the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and Representative John Lewis. But it was accomplished by countless nameless individuals who boycotted segregated buses, sat down at segregated lunch counters, and marched to secure the rights promised to them. We may be small, but we can accomplish great change when God is with us. God was with little Ruby Bridges, who at 10 minutes to 8 walked with her head up, eyes forward, through a screaming mob with 2 federal marshals in front of her and 2 federal marshals behind her to become the first African-American child to break the color barrier in the New Orleans public school district. There she sat, all alone, in that big, silent school building. She was just a little grasshopper. What could she do against a giant like a centuries-old system of racism? And yet she was not alone. God was with her. You say, well, that's going to take a great leap of faith. Yes, but that shouldn't be too hard for a grasshopper.